All right, we're getting ready for China, and there's a lot of things to do, and one of the main things I wanted to do is make sure I had a smooth experience over there when it comes to all my hardware, and that's why I've decided to grab one of the MSI. This is the WS60 laptop. It's got the NVIDIA Quadro in it, and that's going to help with a lot of our video editing and that sort of thing. So upgrading that as the core of what we're going to need in China is going to help a lot, I think. Our other laptop, it's 17 inches. It was another MSI, but it was starting to cough and sputter a little bit. I think it was, I think it overheated a little bit, and I might have spilled a beer on it. I don't know about that or not, but it's working, but it's coughing and that sort of thing. This one so far, I've been using it for the last couple weeks for the tech. It's running perfectly fine. It's also got the Core i7 in it and 16 gigabytes of RAM. This one has the, it's the combination with 128 gigabyte MSATA SSD, and also in there we have a 1 terabyte HGST hard drive, a mechanical hard drive. Now, if you take off the back, you can really see what all is going on here, and as you can see, the RAM and everything, just from taking off the back by removing the screws, is not accessible, and the spots where you can install additional MSATA drives, no, it's not there. So it's going to be kind of a pain in the ass. I decided not to take it apart because I don't want to mess with it any further. I could put a 512 gigabyte MSAT or something like that in there, but I'm in a hurry. That's the main thing. I've got to get the hell out of town. So anyway, that's the hardware. 15-inch display. Looks really nice. I will say this, the 15-inch display does look slightly small compared to the 17-inch I was using, and the bezel on this is quite thick and large, like around the sides. I feel like they could have made, given it a bigger screen, but I think the thing is here is they wanted to make it just large enough to include a number pad, and of course they've got the backlit keys that look really nice, and but they didn't want to, raise the price up too high, so we still have the 15-inch screen, but in a slightly larger overall size. So it's interesting, and 1080p is quite nice. It comes in 3K and 4K options as well, and 1080p is fine for me. The thing that also is nice about this is it will support a couple of extra 4K monitors through the HDMI, and there's also a mini display port on the side. Above and beyond that, we have Thunderbolt, which if you're in the creative field, you know that Thunderbolt's going to be quite nice. We'll be using USB 3 mostly, and purchased this little guy over here on the side. I'm not going to unhook it right now because my mouse and keyboard are plugged into it. It's the Hu2. It's a USB 3-port hub with gigabit Ethernet, and that's going to be handy if I'm ever over there and someone has a device and they need to get on a wired connection. I can just be like, here, use this for a little while and plug it in, and you'll be all good to go. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mess with this. It came with Windows 7 Pro 64-bit. That's okay. I'm okay with that, but not really. And it came with some fancy lighting software to change all the lighting effects and stuff like that. I don't care about that either. If you are someone who wants to get in there and change the lighting effects, you can do that with the software that's included. But I don't care about any of that stuff for me, and when I just need to get down to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe everything. And I'm going to install Windows 8 Pro, Windows 8.1 Pro. It's slightly faster, and once I put Start Us Back and everything on there, it'll be just fine. And then I'm also going to install Ubuntu and GNOME, so that we can use that as well. So you know what? You guys want to see what I'm installing in all those? Let's go ahead and take a look, shall we? So the first thing I do is I don't need to uninstall anything because I did a fresh install of Windows, but the first thing that I do here is come over to Ninite.com, and I love Ninite and I hate Ninite at the same time because everything you put a check mark on here, it's going to install with the default options into the default directory, and they do so because it's sort of the Apple mentality. They're like, you know what? This is where they should go. So yes, and if you don't have a big enough hard drive, well, you should have a big enough hard drive. So when I'm here, I usually install Firefox and Chrome for different purposes. And then I use the K-Lite codec pack because I've had more success with that than I have the CCCP. I'm actually going to go install the Mega, just make sure I have the big one. I'll need all those codecs. Next up, I'm not going to install much else of anything. I do need a reader. Foxit, I'm kind of whatever about. I don't really like any of the readers, but if you have a suggestion, let me know. I'll need FileZilla so that I can upload my stuff from, China and Taiwan back to the office here near Seattle. Notepad++ is always good to have. And then PuTTY is going to be entirely essential if I want to SSH into anything. We'll have Linux as well, but sometimes you just need to do it quickly while you're in Windows. And all this stuff I'm not going to use because I use my own services. And I do quite enjoy 7-zip. The rest of the stuff, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to grab those, get the installer, and install it. Then, for Chrome, I mean, you can do Chromium. Hell, you can even do Opera if you want, because Opera is no longer a thing. It's just Chrome with an Opera skin on it, basically. I like doing the beta version of Google Chrome, so there's that. Start as back is my start menu replacer. Yay! There it is. Quite enjoy that. Then I need a VPN. I especially need a VPN when you're in China. I do like the way Viper VPN can let you do whatever you want over there. It's very difficult to connect even using a VPN. So theirs has like an ultra secure mode. I'm not exactly sure what it's called because I'm not looking at it right now, but theirs has a mode that will allow you to connect to the internet, but it is very, very slow because of the heavy encryption. I'm not totally sure if private internet access has a mode like that or not, but I'll I have an account with both, and I'll try them both out. So we have those installed. There's my FileZilla. And then if we ever have any time to game, I'm going to install the GOG Galaxy and grab just a couple of games, like Hotline Miami 2 and stuff like that, just for, quick, got 5 minutes to kill, let's have a little fun, even though I doubt we'll have 2 minutes to kill. So that's pretty much it there. Now, as you can see, I've made a folder here called Kane Mode. Click on Properties. So here's what you do. You make a folder, and you can title it anything you want. But just type God Mode into Google and it'll tell you what to do. But you basically rename the folder to this long string, and then when you double click it, it gives you all these glorious options. Look at that. That's what it's like to have a PC. These glorious options. Have even more options on Linux. But you know what? We do have the PowerShell, and there's a few things that we can do with the PowerShell. Now, with the modern stuff, of course, you've got the start screen, which oh, look at that. There's not much there. I've removed most of the things. I can't get rid of everything, but removed most of the things, and there's your apps, So what I've done to remove that is open up the PowerShell. There it is. And there's a command that you can type in there. I usually like to remove everything, things for all users. So the command that you type in here to remove the modern apps is git, I think it's -app x package. And then you want to do all users. And then it's remove. So you do that and press enter and it'll do some stuff. I've already done this, so it's going to be like, what are you doing? Everything's already gone. So that'll remove a lot of the modern apps that clutter stuff up. There's another thing you can do. You can turn off some, features if you don't want them. And I'm talking like Windows Media Player and Internet Explorer and all that kind of stuff. You can turn things off here. So these are things that you normally cannot uninstall. I'm leaving this installed because Premiere and some of the Adobe Creative Cloud might need some of those codecs. So yeah, there's that. So next up, I'm going to grab a copy of QuickTime just because I need the stupid, codec or whatever. But check this out. Do not just double click and run this. Go ahead and open Archive with 7-zip. And look at all this crap inside there. You don't need all this stuff. You don't need Apple Software Update and all that nonsense. You just need QuickTime. So I'm going to grab that and drag it out like I've already done. And then I'm going to install QuickTime right here. Now, last but not least, I do kind of want a music program. Something I can, have some tunes and all that stuff. So let's grab Clementine. It may or may not work in all different markets, but, as we travel. I don't want to install FooBar just because I don't want to mess around with it. FooBar is great if you have a local, media library and a bunch of time for plugins. A lot of time for plugins. But Clementine is like Amarok for Linux. It's updated and it supports a lot of different streaming services and that sort of thing. So I'm probably going to install that on here and Linux. So that's pretty much it. I got my fun and my business out of the way, plus all the drivers installed. And one of the main things we'll be using a lot here is the Open Broadcaster. This is the multi-platform version. I like it because you have a lot of control over your audio sources and that sort of thing. So that's pretty much it for Windows. Now let's go over and check out Linux. We're taking a look at our Linux stuff. Got OBS running right now. OBS also works with our HDMI capture hardware, so that's really snazzy. We'll be using that to do most of our capturing. That's one of the main reasons we have Linux, just for stability, and I really like what they're doing with OBS on Linux. Now, I'll show you guys what else we have installed. I've been playing around with some of the GNOME extensions. I was going to use Plasma 5, but it was a bit too heavy. GNOME's too heavy as well. I probably should just be using i3, but whatever. Just grabbed a few extensions. And some theming and that sort of thing. It's totally unnecessary though. FileZilla is an important program. I downloaded that, and that is also something that you don't even need to install any more repositories or whatever, you just do sudo apt-get update, and then just sudo apt-get install FileZilla, and you're good to go. So that's nice to have for uploading stuff back, to the main server. And of course, Open Broadcaster, Clementine. If we do have time to listen to some music, I'll use this. And then just a few other utilities, but mainly it's going to be for stability and just having something that's basic and gets the job done. I probably should change the shell theme. I'll show you what theme I'm using. Everyone always asks. Which theme are you using? I'm using the Flat Studio Dark and Ultra Flat Orange icons. They just go into your themes folder here in your home directory. There's those orange things. So there's a scroll down, you'll see a dot themes. That's where it goes. And then the strange thing about icons is they actually go into your computer, into user, into share, and then into the icons folder. So it's kind of weird, but your shell themes and your other themes go into just go into that .themes folder. There it is. There's all your different icon packages. And then we've got some different stuff going on here with our extensions. GNOME's pretty easy to use and slightly lighter weight than Plasma. You probably customize Plasma more than this, so I might switch back to it on my main rig, but for this one we just wanted something quick and easy to use. And it's always nice to have a terminal handy in case we need to log back into the NAS and stuff. PuTTY will work, but prefer the terminal. So that's Linux. So that's pretty much it. That's what I have on Windows. That's what I have on Linux. I want to note that when I installed the two of them, I'm not using Grub. I am not using any particular bootloader. In fact, by default, it's using the Windows bootloader. But I like to install them on two separate hard drives, and I don't like to let them even know that each other exists. And what I do when I boot is I keep pressing the F11 button, which will allow you to select your boot drive. And if I want to go to Linux, I go down and select, Ubuntu. And if you want to go to Windows, I've got it right now. It's set to it automatically boots into Windows. So it's more simple that way. And another nice thing about doing it that way is if you wanted to pull the drive out and put it into another computer, you could just pull your Linux drive out, put it in another computer, turn it on, and it would work just fine. You wouldn't have to worry about any strange bootloader issues. So with the new UEFI implementation, that's definitely the way to go. And that's how I've done it. And now it's time to take this thing to China and get some freaking work done. Click on stuff. There's stuff on the screen. And we'll see you guys pretty soon in the comments. Let me know what you guys think, and if you have suggestions, always share those as well. I'm gonna wipe everything off the desk already.